Yeah. Cold air, bright flame, hit a crest when we enter. When the crest covers, circle tight, we remember. Power in the whispers, protection in the spell. Ancient in our bloodline, yeah, we know it well. Strong minds, strong hearts, every sigil intentional. Love keeps us guarded, magic multi-dimensional. We rise together, no throne, no lone caster. Sisters and brothers, every spell cast faster. Ice in the wind, but the bonds stay warm. Through shadow and storm, we transform. This ain't fear, this is faith in motion. When the crest covered, strength, love, devotion.
Blessed be Wintercrest and all of Wintercrest's friends. This is the Wintercrest podcast, and I am the High Priest of Wintercrest, Paul Abayarafu, and I speak to all of you, blessed new moon. I am about a few hours away from the new moon officially setting over the city that I'm in. And I have an app on my phone, and I use a lot of different moon app and astrological apps all the time. I am not the kind of witch that talk a lot of gibberish and not walk the lifestyle of a true pagan. I'm not the kind that's just on TikTok throwing out recipes, but I'm the kind of person, the kind of witch, the kind of man that literally believes in the craft for real. A serious mind concerning the craft. In fact, one of the things that I teach to the coven and to all others when I'm doing workshops and stuff throughout the world is that the greatest of all magic is self-discovery. To discover oneself and remove those impediments so we can move from what's improbable to the possible. To move into an area where we can see our magic working in real time. Now, a lot of people, and this is one of the bad things concerning the magical world, a lot of people have a skewed understanding on the power, the process of magic and how it flows and operates in the practitioner. Our concept here at Wintercrest is based upon the Egyptian, the chimerical concept. When they refer to Heka, they're saying that anything is possible. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, all things are possible with God. And then there's another scripture that says, all things are possible for those who believe. And this is the idea of Heka. This is the idea of Heka, that all things is literally possible. Not just the cute stuff that they're trying to do on TikTok today, but I'm talking about every single, if you can think it and have the will to magic it, it can happen. Heka is the power that forged the world. Heka was not created, it self-originated. It's always been. It's eternal. It is the power that causes protons, electrons, and other things to act as they do. When you believe in Heka, is equivalent to the African idea of Ashe. It is the very power of Olodumare, the very power of God, the very power of Monad working with us, in us, as us, to bring to pass those magical forms we put into motion. And that's what Heka is, that all things are possible. So many witches and so many practitioners want to limit magic. Want to say magic can do this, but it cannot do that. That magic can tweak a circumstance, but magic can overhaul something. Or they want to limit the abilities or the range of magic. You know, like magic could do this here, but you have to do this here. Now, there is a correspondence. There's a give and take. There is the law of exchange. And we'll talk about that later, you know, but you have to in other words, the law of exchange is simply this. You get out what you put in. If you practice the craft, then you will be powerful in the craft. That's what it means. But we have a whole lot of people that like dressing up in the part, and like, you know, calling themselves witch. And this whole movement of bitchcraft, you know, you need to get away from that, in my opinion. Because there's nothing about witchcraft that's bitchy. We deal with what we must deal with. So if you cross the wrong way, if you cross me the wrong way, then I will deal with this crossing. I do an uncrossing first and deal with what your intent was. There are times of hexes and curses. And I feel sorry for you if you're on my hex list. There's a time for it. But at the same time, bitchiness is not part of this. I'm just working in concert with karma to serve to you what's rightly due you, if necessary. So this witchcraft stuff, this witch woman in total control of herself stuff, this feminism idea that surrounds witchery, you miss the whole point. See, the moon doesn't care what your gender is. And the sacred gardens and the trees, they're not concerned with what your gender is. Witches work close with the earth. Okay? Witchcraft does not have a gender. It doesn't have that at all, this type of spirituality. And we done got kind of boggled down and we done got kind of confused with what it is. And so the magical world is really kind of in a mess, okay? Because you got people claiming and proclaiming, and you got a lot of people teaching when they need to be taught, and there is liberty in the craft, no doubt. We don't all have to dance the same way or march to the same drumbeat. But there is the laws that govern the universe. And magical practitioners understand these laws of magic and understand the laws that govern the universe. And those of us that really apply it, we see the greatest benefit of the craft, whereas the craft is not limited in our lives. I heard a very famous witch, and I was reading, I think it was in Sage magazine or something like that. I was reading where two things were said that I want to deal with real quick. The first thing was, magic cannot make you rich, but it can give you an extra $5 on your bill or something like that, a lady said. Now, I don't serve a weak, watered down, powerless craft. I can get $5 from my mama, okay? I don't need something to give me $5. I need a power that will solve the problems. I believe with everything in me that magic can make you a millionaire, that you can win the lottery with magic, that you can have the husband, the wife, or the partner of your dreams with magic, that there is no limit what is possible for you if you learn and cultivate the vibration and frequency of how to get that done. So I believe all things is possible with magic, through magic and in magic, if the practitioner is willing to understand what they're doing. If they're willing to do it. Now, if you're not willing to do it, then of course, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But I believe magic can give you more than just $5. Magic is more powerful than that to those that really work it. But to the ingredient bunch, you put a little bit of this in, you put a little bit of that in, and then you hope for the best. Maybe that's all they get. But to the serious-minded practitioner, to the serious one, that it could do a lot more. Now, the second thing is, some people say that if it defies the laws of science, then magic can't do it. Now, this is laughable. First of all, because science is always changing. Science is always in the type of, if you study science, the scientific method and all of that, you'll notice that there were some things that the scientists believed back in the day that they no longer believed. Hence, the earth is flat. Or the planetary systems rotate around the earth, and not the earth is rotating around the sun with the other planets. There's a lot of scientific things that they once believed that they no longer believed. Okay? And so to say then that the apparatus, because it's basically what science is a trust and a confidence in an apparatus. Science takes measurements. Science quantify things and measure things. Okay? That measurement holds more weight than Heka, then you're out of your spiritual mind. Because there would be no apparatus, or there would be nothing to study. There would be no gravity, no planet, no stars, if it had not been for Heka. And see, that's the Egyptian, the chematical idea of what Heka is. It's the power of all things. So see, it wasn't matter, then spirit. No, it was spirit, then matter. Okay? The primordial stuff, then the other stuff. Okay? The divinity revealing itself, showing itself, and exposing itself so that we have something to study now. And we work with this divinity in order to do so. So yeah, the spirit, the divine, Heka, magic, witchcraft is more powerful than the scientific study. So I don't care what science says about it. All things are possible with magic. And I think it's high time for witches and sorcerers, necromancers, or whatever you call yourself, to stop cowing down to public's opinions about what we can do. And just believe what we believe. You know you're weird. You know you're different. You know what you believe. Okay? Some of us study Harry Potter like a guidebook. Study Lord of the Rings like a guidebook. Okay? You know what you believe. You know what you've seen. Some of you scared to tell people you've seen spirits, or you're afraid to let people know that an entity told you what this, that, or the third was. And we cower away from it because we don't want to look crazy before our friends and our families. But let me give you a spoiler alert. They already think you're nuts. They think you're off the rocker, out of your tree. They already believe that. So I'm not going to sit here and not be me because of what somebody else already feels and what somebody else already thinks. So we need to be ourselves. Now, it's about 3 o'clock in the morning, my time. And I'm up this early because I'm getting ready to do a dark of the moon magic. A lot of people call this moon the new moon, but the new moon doesn't start until you see the first slither of light on the moon. And I don't advise you guys to start your new working at the dark of the moon. The dark of the moon is a time of rest, a time of contemplation, a time of shadow working, a time of completing the hex. It is a good time for witch bottles and things of the like. Sealing a hex, sending a curse, sending it to destroy certain things, to bring certain things to an end. And when you see the first slither of light on the moon, which will be the 15th for me, then that's when you start your new project as the moon grows. But see, this is why we need teachers that are not just hearing stuff on TikTok, but the information has been passed down. They've studied it. We have gone through what we needed to go through. We are bona fide magicians, okay? Bona fide. Let me say this. You will see a greater demonstration of magical power if you find teachers that will teach you this kind of teaching. Because, see, this kind of teaching cultivates a belief in your subconscious mind. That's why it's so important that you listen and listen and listen. Just listen to all the teaching. Just keep them on. Just put them on. And I do this here myself. My teachers, I have on nonstop. I just don't watch Mogul television. If I watch television, it's something about a witch or wizard or something like that. But most of the time it's lectures and teachings, and I'm reading books and doing things of that nature because I protect the inner sanctum. The inner sanctum is your deepest, your holies of holies is what they will call it in the Bible. It's that deepest place in your subconscious mind. And you got to be careful what you let inside of there. Because if the wrong stuff get in there like it is in so many lives, then bad stuff is going to come out of there. I was talking to this guy, and he think he's magical, but he's not really. And he wanted me to make him a mojo. And so when we were talking, and I was telling him that he has self-sabotaged the people he's around, the music he's listening to, the shows he's watching is his greatest hindrance. Now, I'm not trying to get you to be like church folks and nothing like that, but what I'm saying is if you are magicking and trying to manifest and spelling for a car, then you need to hear messages about how easy it is to get one. You need to hear messages about how to get the car and create an image inside of yourself so that when you're spelling on that thing or increasing a spell on a thing, that it comes to pass without hindrance. Without hindrance. And in order to do that, you need to really understand how this magic stuff works. And in order to understand that, you need to be around witches and sorcerers and necromancers and magicians who is actually practicing this stuff with bona fide results. See, I'm not interested in just a carpet button and a cape. Those are nice. A witch's hat and a cloak. I'm not interested in that, just that. I'm interested in power that works. Power that works. Okay? And a power that I can use, not a power that's an aloof. I don't need a God in the sky that'll tell me sometime yes and sometime no. A God that I got to beg to get things done. No, I need to understand the system, see, in which things that I need done are done. Okay? One of the greatest mistakes of many practitioners is they think magic works without exercise or development. And magic is a skill set too. Okay, it surrounds us, it's within us, it penetrates us, but it's also a skill set. And if you're not working the skills, you're not going to be strong in magic. Now, I start my students off with affirmations, visualizations, and meditations. Affirmations, the repetitiveness occupies the mind, and you need to do it long enough. Now, this is a slow process here, but it will occupy the mind until the words of the things that you're wanting is deposited into your soul or your subconscious. Meditation will teach you to hold a thought in your mind when you're casting. Visualization will cause these things to move toward you and cause you to be in it. And the three together is a powerful tool. As simplistic as they are, it's extremely powerful. It's the beginning of you controlling your thoughts and your mind. And that's what the magician is attempting to do. That's what the witch is trying to do. Is combine with your conscious mind with your subconscious mind, where they're one and the same. The two become one, see? And when that happens, you have glorious results. But a lot of folks, they're about a lot of bullshit. They don't really want to do the work and spend the time to understand how to really work this stuff. No, they don't want to. They rather dance. They rather march in the pagan pride and talk about how much the world hates us. But they won't do what is necessary to bring to pass their magic and their spells and stuff like that. They don't want to do it. They spend too much time in the muggle world doing mundane things. Instead of separating themselves, at least most of the time, so you can get your thoughts right. You have to spend time studying. You have to spend time meditating. You have to spend time listening to people like me. And if you don't have nowhere else to go, come on with us. With Wintercrest, we believe in the woo. We're about that stuff. We don't limit the craft. I have a lot of stuff to say to you guys on this podcast and in these things. We're just getting started. At Wintercrest, we have a class. We have our classes around the equinoxes, the solstices, and the new and full moon. Okay? And we have a class on Zoom where we go into detail and we talk. And the students of Wintercrest can come to me personally. They have my tutelage, they have my guidance, they have my coaching. Now, in order to join Wintercrest, to get into the classes and all of that, you have to give at least $25 a month. And some people say, well, why do we got to do that? It's the law of exchange. In order for me to do what I'm doing, it must be supported. And the information that I have and imparting to you is well worth what it is. See, there's a law of exchange. If you want something, you have to spend time for something to get it. If you wanted a hamburger, and you go to McDonald's, you go get your hamburger, they want something in return. For what? Their time. They had to get trucks there, the logistics, the stuff you don't see that makes your burger. Now, I don't eat at McDonald's. I don't eat at a lot of restaurants, but they that time. So you buy a meal and you give them some money, and then you leave and you come back the next day. You don't say, well, I paid you yesterday. You ought to give me this for free. Well, that's called thievery. And there's this line going around in the magical world that says, it should be free. Now, you don't tell Swepco that. You don't tell the utility companies that. You don't tell McDonald's that. And some people get upset if you put that on there as a commitment instead of seeing it as a seed sown. I mean, if my words is blessing you, then you should surely want to pass the blessing on to others. And so Wintercrest, they give $25 a month or more, whatever Spirit puts on their hearts, so that we can reach others and help guide witches, wizards, sorcerers, whatever you call yourself, all over the world to do the business of magic and to see real results in your life. Okay, and not just all these books up that don't really explain nothing, but a real community that can really bless you and really help you. Like I was listening to this lady talk about the word bless, and I'm going to say this and we'll conclude this podcast. But she was talking about the word bless, and she went and looked at the root of it and found out that the word bless means bloodshed or sacrifice. So she said, well, I won't say bless because I don't want the blood to be shed for me. Okay. And I think she went all the way back and found the old English words for it. And this is how misguided teachings get out there. Okay. When they bless something, they sacrifice something for protective means. Okay. When they did that. However, the meaning of words, they're not made by God or divinity. They're made by men. So what a word means, we give the meaning of that word to it. So we can take a word that was once an evil word and say something good about it and turn it good. We can take a symbol and defile it like Hitler did with the swastika. Okay, so that can go back and forth. You can take the swastika, you can purify it if you have enough power, and vice versa. Now, that word blessed is not a negative thing. It's just some crazy that people, they think that is because it's bloodshed, it must be bad. But how do you eat your chicken? Do you not shed the blood of the chicken before you eat it? How do you eat the cow? Do you not shed it? It didn't mean that your blood is going to shed. It didn't mean that at all. But that's what happens when we don't have teachers. And we got other things out there. Things like people saying like, you don't have to believe, you can know. But see, that's crazy. I mean, it sounds good. Or you don't have to understand, you can overstand. It's some stupid stuff like that. Okay? Let me tell you something. If you know something, you truly believe it. See, Deepak Chopra started that mess about if you know it, you don't have to believe it. Now, I believe everything I know. I believe everything I know. You can interchange the words. I know my address. I believe where my address is. See, I mean, and we're going to take time and we're going to go through here to straighten this shit out. Just because everybody is saying it don't mean that it needs to be said. But to the wise, to those that really study this stuff and learn this stuff and understand this stuff, you will see the fruits of your labor. All right, look here. I love you that love me, hate those that hate me. Blessed be to all of my friends. Cursed be to all of my enemies. Thank you for listening to the Wintercrest Podcast.
Yeah. Cold air, bright flame, hit a crest when we enter. When the crest covered circle tight, we remember. Power in the whispers, protection in the spell. Ancient in our bloodline, yeah, we know it well. Strong minds, strong hearts, every sigil intentional. Love keeps us guarded, magic multi-dimensional. We rise together, no throne, no lone caster. Sisters and brothers, every spell cast faster. Ice in the wind, but the bonds stay warm. Through shadow and storm, we transform. This ain't fear, this is faith in motion. When the crest covered, strength, love, devotion.